When my daughter was born, it there were certain things that I just wanted the world to be for her, and how I wanted the world to be able to treat her. But when I was realizing that, I then realized how I had been hurting others. And I took upon myself to say, how do I redress some of the things that have been going on that I have been participants of. I've always been one who was sensitive to the issues around racial justice, because that was at the forefront of when you were growing up, just what you had to deal with. But I began to look at other issues. I began to look at my own sexism, my own homophobia, issues around class consciousness for me, how I was able to look at people who were struggling and oftentimes began to think that it was their fault. I knew that however my daughter was going to grow up, many of those things she might have to face, and I didn't want people to be closing the doors on her like I had closed the doors on others. As people began to look at themselves and to understand the quality of life that they want for themselves, the issues of which many people have been forced to the margins on, they begin to realize that that having it for everybody ultimately includes it for them, that this intersectionality that the systems create, that you just can't separate one from the other, and you just can't begin to move forward. You have to look at it from a more holistic standpoint. So looking at that declaration for all humans, and looking for human rights and dealing with the injustices, that you find that there's a lot of common ground, and certainly the common ground of pain that people endure when they're the victims. It helps us to begin to realize how important it is for us to be challenged, not just in our community, but in communities everywhere. I think all of us have certain values that we want to hold on to, but it is in the conversation that we begin to realize that some of those values, that we have great similarities in those values. So I think that's where change has to begin in Tennessee. We've got to drop some of the labels of being, whether we're a red state or a blue state, or you're a conservative or you're a liberal. But where is it that we can find the common ground, and how do we work back to that common ground and then begin to move forward? I think we just too often just stand at the place where we're divided, and we never move from that to even look to find out where our commonality is. What an honor it is to be recognized. When Beverly Watts called me, I said, wow, they must have gone through the complete list of people, and now they've got to find somebody else. But it was a great honor when I heard that Rip Patton was going to be one of the persons that I would be sharing this event with. Rip is a person of whom I have, who's inspired me along the work, particularly around the issues of racial justice, and he was a little older than I am, but he taught me and inspired me in so many ways. His mother was one of whom was a great friend of mine, who taught me how to find joy in the midst of the struggle. So it is quite an honor to be able to share this night with him.